When it comes to money mistakes, we've all made them. Money mistakes can be costly, and those costs can take years to recover from. Money mistakes result from a lack of financial education or knowledge. So if you want to avoid making any money mistakes at all, you need to educate yourself about them first. In this video, I will go over 10 money mistakes you must avoid at all costs. Let's get started. Number 1. Buying a car on credit. You may be in the habit of buying things on credit, but if you're thinking about getting a car, there are some important considerations to make before signing up for financing. First and foremost is whether or not it will even be affordable for you. It doesn't matter how much money your car costs per month. What matters most is making sure you'll have enough income to keep up with payments every month. Suppose money mistakes like spending too much each month can lead to money problems down the line when they pile up. One money problem often leads into another until suddenly all your resources are drained and nothing makes sense anymore. Avoiding this cycle begins by having an honest conversation about where your money goes each month, why it goes there, and how to change your habits. Number 2. Not saving for retirement. This is a mistake that can haunt you later in life. Avoiding setting up an account for saving and investing as soon as possible because it's too early could come back to bite you down the line, so don't delay. You may think it's not essential, but the truth of the matter is what you do with your money now will have a significant impact on how much, or little, you'll have to live off when retirement comes around. Avoid making this financial mistake by doing these 3 things. Open a savings account at your bank today. An investment plan doesn't need to be complicated. Just diversify into different types of investments such as stocks and mutual funds. Avoid this mistake by making a plan to save for retirement today. You should avoid some financial mistakes, not saving enough, not having an emergency fund, etc. Some other common mistakes include not investing early in life and being too conservative with your investments when it comes time to retire. Avoid these mistakes at all costs. If you want the best possible outcome for your retirement savings, then take action now before it's too late. Set up investment accounts, start talking about finances with others, make sure that you have some sort of emergency fund set aside for unexpected expenses. Don't let yourself fall into any of these traps, or you'll regret it later on down the line. Don't be one of those people. Avoid making these mistakes by doing the things listed above, and you'll be well on your way to financial freedom. Don't make another mistake that can haunt you later in life. Start saving for your retirement early. It's never too soon. And don't forget about an emergency fund. Number 3. Spending too much money at one time is avoidable. An essential aspect of becoming a responsible adult is to know when you're spending too much money at one time. Whether the purchase was an emergency or not, spending more than we can afford or should be doing, and it's something everyone does from time to time. There are some ways we can avoid this mistake by beginning with budgeting your income for each week/month, saving up whenever possible, and knowing how much things generally cost before making such purchases. Also, if you don't have enough money saved to make that big ticket item work, then try looking into financing options. Example, 0% credit card offers. Just remember that what seems easy on paper may not always be the best idea in real life. Avoiding this mistake is all about being accountable with your money and knowing when you're spending too much on one time, which can be easier said than done if not planned out properly. You can avoid this by, number 1, avoid making purchases without planning them. Number 2, save up for big ticket items instead of financing them or putting them on a credit card. Number 3, be more aware of how much things cost before purchasing anything expensive. And number 4, avoid impulse buying at any cost, even if it means waiting until the next payday to buy that item you've had your eye on for weeks now. Number 4, overspending on groceries or eating out more than you should. I made this mistake for years, but finally stopped. Avoiding these pitfalls is the first step to saving money on groceries and eating out. Don't shop hungry. Don't shop when you're hungry because it's too easy to overspend. Before heading into the store or restaurant, make sure you eat something else, even if it means bringing a meal with you. Make a list of what you need to buy and only buy that. It was life-changing when I started doing this. It allowed me to avoid impulse buys like chips, gum, candy bars, and more because they were not included in my list of items needed at home. If I saw them while shopping, I would automatically put them back once I realized they weren't on the list. Avoid eating out at restaurants. Unless you're eating out for a special occasion, avoid it as often as possible. I know this is easier said than done, but if you can cut back even just one meal per week at your favorite restaurant, that could save you $20 to $30 per week. Number 5, paying your bills late. The best way to avoid making a mistake is not to create one. This does not always work, but if you pay your bills on time, it will help tremendously. Being proactive can save you money and stress in the future, so take advantage of this situation now by avoiding late fees. If you're having trouble paying your bills or finding someone who will give you an extension, do everything necessary to expedite the process as soon as possible before things get out of hand, because they certainly will if left unchecked. The last thing anyone needs when balancing their finances is more problems added into the mix, which could spiral into something worse than just missing one payment. Number 6, taking unnecessary loans. Don't ever take unnecessary loans because it will result in a debt that you could have avoided. Avoid this mistake by following these tips. Avoid taking any loan without proper research and planning. Don't borrow money from anyone unless it's an emergency situation or someone is lending it to you with no interest attached to the loan, like family members, for example. This way, there won't be anything hanging over your head if something happens where you can't pay them back right away. But just try to get back up as soon as possible, though. Stay safe out there. You should never be short on cash, so plan accordingly for the future. Number 7, being unemployed without any savings. We all know that the unemployment rate is going higher and people are having difficulty finding a job. However, if you're unemployed without any savings, then this will be even harder to handle, since not only do you have no money coming in, but now your expenses seem to keep rising as well. Avoid making these mistakes when it comes to being unemployed because they can cost you more than just some small change. Number 8, not budgeting properly. Don't let your paycheck fool you into thinking that it has more money than what it does. Avoid making the mistake of not budgeting correctly and ending up with no savings at all. Budgeting would allow you to plan out how much money goes where, so when something unexpected comes up, such as an emergency, there's a backup fund for those situations. If this happens, avoid failing to save even the smallest amount, because now, if anything else comes about, you won't be able to cover it without borrowing from somewhere, which will only dig you deeper in debt and ruin your credit score. Avoid doing these things and instead find methods on saving some cash here and there that can build into big bucks later on down the road by avoiding wasting them on unnecessary things. Number 9, ignoring your credit score. When it comes to money, your credit score is an essential factor that you should be aware of. Your credit score determines the type of loan interest rates and terms you can qualify for, which will also influence how many monthly payments are on each loan. But at what point does paying attention to your credit become obsessive? The average American has 3 available loans with $16,000 in debt, resulting in an average FICO score of around 700, or outstanding. You may wonder why this matters, if the person's income level would never allow them to pay off their debts anyway. By ignoring your credit history, lenders assume poorly managed spending habits that make future borrowing more expensive. Number 10, not investing or having one source of income. The last thing that we want to do is find ourselves in a situation where our only source of income is gone, making us rely on others for help. This can lead to many mental health issues, which can cause further problems if not addressed right away. Avoid this possibility by creating multiple sources of income or investing your money into something other than real estate, such as stocks and bonds, aka not putting all your eggs in one basket. Do whatever it takes to make sure that the chances of losing everything are small enough so that you sleep better at night knowing there isn't much risk involved with what you're doing. Significant risks usually end up costing more and energy every day until they are dealt with. Avoiding these money mistakes is easier than you think, but it does require some effort on your part. Start by creating a budget and sticking to it, even if that means making some sacrifices in the short term. Build an emergency fund so you have a cushion in case of unexpected expenses. And lastly, invest in yourself by taking courses and learning about financial planning and investing. Let us know in the comments which money mistake you're working to avoid this year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.